Hi, it's Neil from Mighty Little Green Machine. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we've got Paul's 1025R back up here again, and we're going to do quite a bit to it. We're going to do a service, 200-hour service on it. We're going to install Hydros Plus on it. We're going to install Summit Hydraulics on it. We're going to install the vent tube in the front axle, and whatever. Oh, plus we're going to add the hydraulic top link, and whatever else the heck Paul bought me in boxes today. So you do not have to take all this stuff off to do the service. I took it off just to get a little better access and so you guys can see it. Plus it'll be a little easier to pull the fender well and stuff, not having the tire there. And while you can pull the hydraulic filter out on the left side with the tire on with the spacers, it's not worth the struggle to me. So we went ahead and took the wheels off, got it up on jack stands. Plus, I'm going to show you another little trick that we're going to make sure on Paul's. We're going to make sure that his shifter assembly is adjusted right, so that what happens is sometimes when these things are tough to get in gear when you're stopped, it's because they're not quite adjusted right. And so we put it up on four wheels, and we start it, and we put it in gear. And if the tires move in either direction, we make an adjustment until they're in the center and not moving anymore, and that makes it easier to shift it. So we're going to do a bunch. We've got a lot of stuff to do today. So let's get started. Okay, so I found out that we opened the box up and there's no instructions. So I called Kevin at Hydros Plus and he said that he doesn't do paper instructions because of how complicated, not complicated, but how many steps there are. He said that, so doing the YouTube video. So I've never done one of these before. You're watching me do it for the first time. I'm hoping that this video is helpful for you watching someone who's never done it before do it. But step one, we removed the 3-point hitch arms. You don't have to, but it's going to give us a little more room and make it easier. Step two is to remove the shield for the PTO shaft, and that's a 13 millimeter.
Drain the fluid.
Yeah, we've already drained the fluid from the hydraulic system, and it's still empty. Let's put those together so that we can do all this, and we're not going to fill it till we're done with everything.
She's tight. I think there's a spacer in there too.
Probably.
I got it. Just send it.
Yep. There's two spacers. Okay, so when you pull that off, there's a spacer on either side. Don't lose those. Okay, so the next step is to remove the seat. I'm not going to video all that because I've shown it to you in other videos. So I'll put a link to one of my videos that has step-by-step with the tools and all that and how to take it apart. But we're going to go ahead and get this done, and then we'll come back to you. Okay, so after you get the seat and everything out, which Paul's still working on, but I can go on to the next step, you're going to start taking off the tube. So we're going to start with this tube, 15/16, and we're going to just loosen this. Obviously, once you get this off, you don't want to start your tractor anyway. We wouldn't start this one because it's empty. I don't even know that it needs to be empty, but I just figured since we were doing the fluid anyway, we might as well have it empty while we do it. Okay, and that one is now out. And then the next, we're going to go up top over there and take it off, and I'll move the camera for that. Okay, now the next step is we're going to loosen this feed tube.
That's the
up here and remove it.
Can the folks at home see that?
I don't know. I think so. But we're going to have to remove, and I'll show you this in a second, there's a 15 millimeter bolt over here. In order to get this tube out, and it will just barely come out, we got to pull that 15 millimeter out of there.
Hey, I'm making a mess.
No, your tractor's making a mess. Let's see how that's going to help us.
Well, this is the Power Beyond.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay, so that's why that's got to come out. Okay. So, grab that 15 millimeter.
Nice.
Take that bolt out.
This tube's coming out.
Hopefully. God willing, and the creek don't rise.
Someone doesn't push that little magic button.
Hold that for a minute.
Yep, it's already out.
Oh, that came out. Now the bolt can go back in. That's all you got, and that because the new tube's going to get routed differently. And then while this tube we're done with for good.
I'll take it. Put it back in the box.
Now we'll put that bolt back in before we go any farther, because like I said, the new tube's going to route differently. Okay. Now,
I ever want to go back to stock, which I doubt.
well, yeah. So the only reason you would want to go back to stock is if the thing was still under warranty,
Which it's not.
and it's not. But if it were, and you had a problem, especially with the hydraulics, you would want to take all this off and put it back to stock before it goes to the dealer.
Of course.
But we don't. We're also going to loosen this nut right now, because we're going to redirect how this goes after. Okay, like that. Then we got to get a 13/16 and remove these two lines right there. One from the bottom, and then this one from the top.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Is that going back on?
No.
All right, so this comes over to here, this control unit over here.
Yeah. We're going to loosen this one, and then we're going to go down below and loosen the other one.
I've got this.
Okay, I'll wait till you get that done, because I can't get the wrench in there.
I'm off.
Getting in here is going to be fun.
Well, you want me to lower that bracket?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, that might help. Of course, now the only problem is the one thing he did say is it works better if your 3-point hitch is up.
Oh.
It's okay. It's okay. No big deal. No big deal. We'll figure it out. He's doing it with it down because he forgot. So we'll figure it out.
Well,
why can't I get on that? Almost.
how did you get in there?
I don't know. You almost look like you're a different size.
Or you need a flared wrench.
No, shouldn't.
I think it's a different size.
Sure feels that way.
What's the next size up? (14/16) would be what?
7/8, which is the actual size. Okay, I'm gonna let you work at that one for a second.
You got a 7/8?
Well, of course I do.
Of course you do.
Thanks. Okay, next we're gonna unplug the electrical, which is actually for the front PTO on this. Down below on this, and there's a tab's on the bottom. So you gotta kind of push. I can't get my darn hands in here.
Do you need a screwdriver? Or do you want me to hold that up? I got that.
I definitely have hands that are too big for this stuff. There it goes, I think. There it goes. Okay, now that's unplugged. Okay, so this right here, we loosened that nut earlier. We turn this down at a right angle. A little bit of fluid comes out, not much. By the way, you do not have to empty the fluid to do this. So now we're going to take a 6mm Allen Get down inside here.
Tap it in.
Yeah.
You gotta tap it tap.
I gotta get a tap.
Right here. It's a big tap but it needs to be tapped. I think it's just because of the paint that's in it.
Okay, that should hopefully do it. Might have to break it loose with the ratchet. Here's the ratchet. Thank you, sir.
That do it?
That is tight. I think it's painted in.
Yeah. All of them are painted in.
Yeah.
It's a little persuasion. There we go.
Okay.
Is there? Oh,
Almost. Just missed my toe.
it looked like they had some Loctite on it.
Yeah, they probably do. Okay, now we're going to take the second bolt off. And we're actually going to remove this and then head over to the vise.
I got it.
Okay.
Which way does this come
I
out?
think it's going to have to come out over here. This would be much easier if you didn't have the mower.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Oh, watch the electric.
Yep.
Do you want me to lower that down out of the way?
Oh, yeah, try doing that. See what happens. That's,
Wire tight.
yeah, that's got to come out of there. Like that.
Go down. There you go.
Okay.
What'd you do with that Allen head?
Still in the gun.
Okay. Here's the
Now, down here, there's two O-rings in there. Make sure they're still there, which they are. Okay, so we've got this diverter valve in the device. First thing we're going to do is remove the top fitting here. And that's going to be a 3/4 inch. Oh, that's going to be a problem. We're going to hold this so it doesn't. Okay, there we go. This is going to go out and you're not going to reuse it. Then we're going to go ahead and put
the small plug
in, which is a 6mm. Probably actually fractional, but it's okay. And then, oh, can you give me a 3/8 ratchet, Paul? I don't want to do this with a gun.
Yep.
Great. Then this is a O-ring, so you're going to just snug it. You don't not want to over tighten these. It'll actually cause it to leak. And then while Paul's getting that, you're going to take a 1-inch socket, put it up on this nut. It's going to fit a little snug because of the paint, and you're going to want to pound it in. And make sure that it's tight.
You're 3/8, sir.
Thank you. So first we'll snug up.
That doesn't even look like it's seated square.
It's actually all the paint came off and now it sits nice on there.
Snug?
Snug as a bug in a rug. Okay, now I'm on. Why you gotta be like that? There we go. Okay, just like that.
Smooth.
And that's your proportioning valve for the steering. This we're no longer going to use.
The valve?
That's it, we're out. Now we're going to install the larger plug, which is a 3/8. And you notice I'm not using a gun on these, just because you don't want to over tighten these, or they will leak.
It's a good thing we're changing the fluid.
Yeah.
And the reason why? This has a slightly burnt smell to it.
Oh, well, good. Glad we're doing the fluid then. Okay, now this goes back on the tractor. Just like that. Too bad there's not enough room in the tractor to do this on the tractor. Okay, so we bolted the valve back in. Now we're going to put the front steering line back on. In theory, on paper, if I can get my big hands in there. It's flying.
Slide it back up. You line it up.
Think. Oh, yeah, there we go. Teamwork makes the dream work.
No, it's not quite in yet.
Oh, well, we're getting closer.
There we go. Snuggy, snuggy.
Okay, then we'll tighten that up.
What size was it?
He says it's 13/16, but not on this track. This one we use the 7/8 on.
Yep. I'll take it from this side.
There you go. We're just going to tighten that up. So next we're going to add the new flow divider. But what we're going to do to hold that in is we're going to put on the new power steering tube, and then we're going to run our feed tube, and we're going to connect those to it, because we're going to have to punch holes and then drill and tap. That's where that drill and tap are going to get used. So this is the power steering one. You can see it comes out, down, and at an angle. And then I will show you how we're going to do the feed tube. Okay, now we're going to remove the old pump and put the new pump on. Got to remove this hose. Which hopefully I can get my pliers in there.
If not, we have a pair of channel locks.
It's just nice to... Ow!
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Channel locks?
I don't know if they're going to go in there. I can try it. If I can at least spin it, then I can put the hose clamp pliers on there.
The economy of space.
That's the only problem with these tractors is it's just no moving. Okay, now it's the hose clamp pliers, and if you don't have a pair, you can just finish it with the... I just happen to like... These will stay latched if you can get them on there, right? We might just be using the vice grips. I mean the channel locks. We will see. Okay. Why are you not locking? Oh well. Okay. Now spin this a little. Thinking it might be easier to pull the pump to pull this off, maybe. You know what I mean?
I gotcha.
Okay, so now we're going to take these two and the two down here out, and this pump's going to come right out. In theory, on paper. Where'd that bit go there, champ? Our 6mm bit.
Hold it.
Did I lose it?
No, it's on top.
It's right here.
Oh.
Now I lost it. It's hiding.
Oh,
Nicely done.
God is good.
Yes, he is. Okay. So we're going to hammer these in because of this paint. Actually, you know what? I'll use the extension to put them in because we don't want to
Tap, tap, tap.
hit my fingers.
Let's see.
Well, we'll break it with the ratchet.
Loctite?
Yeah, probably. Oh yeah. Yeah, a little bit.
That's a little bit of Loctite there.
I feel like these were getting stuck in there. There we go. Here, you can have that for a minute.
Yes. Yep.
There you go.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, there's something on this.
I think we'll use blue Loctite to put it back on.
Yeah, I wouldn't use the red.
No, I don't use
Actually,
red.
they make a hydraulic Loctite, believe it or not. I think it's green.
Make sure you hammer these things in. These things are so painted over that you will round them out. And you'll be sad. Gertie, you must have hammered that one already. Yeah, okay. Get it longer on top, shorter on the bottom. Makes sense.
I think we reuse the short ones.
Okay. Now, in theory, it should come out.
It does.
Now, this you're going to reuse on the new pump. The rest of this pump we're done with. So, I lost the new pump again. We're going to go ahead and slide this onto the new pump. Whoop. We're going to slide this onto the new pump. I'm going to give me a rag. I'm going to wipe that off. Paul, I don't want to get any dirt in your system.
Doesn't look that bad.
No, looks good. Nice and clean in there.
Do you want to take that little cap off?
That would probably make this work a lot better.
How about the other side, too?
That, yeah.
But that was...
So just so you know, what I was just about to do, or how do you see this? There's this, and the hose would have gone over it, and so I would have been wondering why this didn't work.
And why we don't have any hydraulic...
So the battery died on us while we were doing this, and now I've switched places because my knees bother me. So Paul's going to work on his own tractor.
Oh,
so we ended up...
Yeah,
we ended up removing the rubber tube because I was having a hard time getting the splines to line up on that spacer on the shaft. So what that does is that connects the splines on the pump to the splines on the tractor. And it was that was important. I didn't want to put stress on it. What'd you lose?
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
I didn't lose that.
So the pump or the kit comes with longer bolts for the new pump for the top, and you reuse the bottom bolts on there. And then we're going to go ahead and put an elbow.
Looks like...
What's that?
It looks like they had Loctite in it, so that's why.
I'm sure they had Loctite in it. So we're using blue Loctite. Remember, don't use red.
Red is bad.
Unless you never want to take it apart again, or because you'll have to heat it. I mean, you don't want to be heating these parts anyway.
It's all aluminum. Yeah, I'm sure there's a torque specification on this too.
I'm sure there is too. So Paul brought up a good point when after I shut the camera off, is when you're tightening those 4 bolts, do a little on each bolt, work your way around. Don't do all on one because it puts undue stress and it doesn't always line back up right. So now we're adding in an elbow.
Which way is this supposed to go?
It's got to point kind of up. You can leave it semi-loose for right now because we're going to...
There we go. Finger tight.
And so, yeah. So that pump is ready to go at this point. So now we're going to go on to the next step. Okay, so what we've done is we've run the feed tube here to the back, and we've run the tube up to the steering here. We had to loosen both of these fittings and get it so it sat straight. Then we held it where it's going to go, and it's got to be a little lower. I found, because the first time I punched this, it was too high. And we took a center punch, I put it in, and then we punched the holes here and here. The third one's an extra, and it's going to be too low anyway. But if you don't drop this a little, it's too close to the top of the frame, and you're not going to end up being able to get a good hole and drill it out. So next we'll drill it, and then we'll tap it. Okay, so we've drilled the holes. Now we're going to tap them. And when you're tapping, you want to make sure you're careful. We're going to use a little lubricant on here. We're going to start it by hand. We want to try and keep it as straight as we can. This was all stuff that was, well, the tap itself and the drill bit were provided in the kit. The holder's mine. And then you're going to start. And once it gets started and you go a little bit, you're going to back up a little bit, break the burrs off, then go back in again. Back up a little, break the burrs off, go a little more. Oops. Back up. You'll feel it start to get tight. When it does, back it up a little and break off the burrs. Almost through. We are all the way through. Just going to keep running it till it feels nice and smooth. And then we'll back it out. And then we'll do the other one and I'll come back. Okay, so here's what we found to be the easiest. Leave the lines off because there's a spacer behind this bolt. Put the 2 bolts through with the spacers on. Get this started. Leave it loose. Then get your lines back on again. I still have everything loose, but I've now tightened up these bolts. So now I'm going to go ahead and tighten up these fittings here and here and here, and then tighten up these nuts, lock nuts too. And we'll be on to the next step. Next, we're going to do our last tube, which is the implement tube. And we're going to go ahead and put an elbow. How did we get in there? Let's see. Where did the rest of this thing go? An elbow in here first. We're just going to start this and leave it loose so we can get everything hooked up, and then we'll tighten everything. My lovely assistant Paul, since he's so good at these tight spaces now. Tell him something. Something like this, hopefully. There it goes, I think. Yeah, okay. Now, we're going to take our last pipe.
So this one's not being used.
That is, no, that was the original off the tractor.
So this will go back. It's spare parts.
And this last pipe is going to go from that elbow we just put in. Thank you for going on so easily. Okay, and then we're going to take the other side of this and connect it down here. Look at this. He thought of everything. When Kevin bent these lines, it perfectly fits around the mower deck. Oh, it's good. Okay. And
now that makes sense. Much more sense.
And that's like that. Now we're just going to tighten those. Okay, so there are extended brackets that come with the kit for your PTO shield. When you're reinstalling the PTO, because I just was fighting with this, the bolt goes from the inside out, the spacer goes between the shield and the bracket, the washer goes on the outside, and then the nylon nut. And you do that on both sides. Okay, so we had a big leak, which we fixed, but one of the things I've learned is if you use electrical contact cleaner on your hydraulic leaks, it washes all the hydraulic fluid off and it dries quick, doesn't hurt anything, and then you know, make sure he doesn't have leaks anymore. So the only thing we have left now is to adjust the steering. The gallons per minute to the steering. Okay, so on the valve here, this is a plastic cover, and underneath that is a screw, and that's what you use to adjust the gallons per minute, the flow to the steering. So when these are stocked before you put the kit on it, it's somewhere around 3 gallons a minute, which is way more than you need for the steering, and obviously there's a finite amount of gallons per minute, so the more you use for the steering, the less you have for the rest of your hydraulics. So that's part of one of the nice things about the kit, is it lets you adjust it down. So I'm going to get the cover off, and then I'm going to adjust that screw, and basically pretty much start with just 1/8 of a turn out. So it's clockwise to close it, and then counterclockwise to open it. And we're going to open it about 1/8 of a turn. Let me get some tools, and we'll get this done. Okay, so it turns out this cap is threaded on. Now that I've got it unthreaded, the screw is, I can see the screw. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it clockwise. So I think he had it set nice already. And I'm going to bring it out about 1/8. Then, what I'm going to do now is fire up the tractor and try it, and we'll see how our steering feels. Okay, so So that's going to do it for this video. Unfortunately, we can't really do any testing on it because Paul wasn't able to bring his loader, and he doesn't own a backhoe. So I'll probably do another video. We'll do some comparisons against my 1025 without the Hydros Plus. We'll do another video on that. But for now, at least hopefully this video helped you get an idea how to install this. Hopefully it makes it easier for you. I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video. As usual, I enjoyed having you out here helping me. And we'll see you next time on Mighty Little Green Machine.